Yo guys, what's poppin'? So you may have noticed if you've been following, you may have noticed a video that I uploaded not too long ago. It's like Dante's hypothetical storm moveset. Now, if you saw the video and if you watched it, it's like 20 minutes long or 21 minutes long, I'm not sure. Then you realize that this is supposed to be Dante's moveset in Storm. Now, obviously, since I have no modding knowledge, I couldn't exactly make Dante's moveset in Storm, right? And even if I knew how to mod, I still don't think I'd ever be able to make something like, it's limited, you can't really mod things that don't exist. So, Dante's moveset in Storm, I've been pondering this. I've been pondering it since forever, basically. I've always been led by this assumption that the majority of fictional characters are compatible with Storm's mechanics, that you could just make literally any anime or gaming character in Storm using its mechanics, because they're very simple yet very intricate in some weird way, and they allow for a lot of things. So, of course, I decided to bend the mechanics a little by my standards. So, I basically made sure to, make a moveset for Dante where he could use everything to the pinnacle of his ability and my ability. And I tried to cram in as many moves as I could without it seeming too overbearing or awkward, like, oh yeah, this guy's just stuffing moves, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, yeah, believe it or not, this was a pretty, while it was a laborious task to tackle, I think it was somewhat cathartic as well. I actually found it pretty chill, like creating movesets and comparing them to Storm, you know, movesets and finding their Storm equivalents and then replicating them in game. I actually think it was really fun, and yeah, basically, I actually really enjoy this process. I mean, I had a lot of things to do, and I couldn't properly focus on this video, but here it is, and I hope you guys are crazy enough to watch a 2.5 hour video, or I'm not sure what the length of this will be after recording, but knowing me, it will not be brief, and knowing how the original video was 20 minutes long or 21 minutes long, then yeah, so the thing that really drove me to make this video was just how extensive Dante's moveset is, how he has a bunch of things at his disposal, and I started to notice some similarities to Storm, and I was like, wow, you know what, this could actually work. I also saw some videos, some YouTuber that made Dante's moveset in Smash, and I was like, you know what, why not make Dante's moveset in Storm, Or it doesn't have to be Storm, like, Storm has this very simple concept, like I said, like, you got the up combo, the down combo, the air combo, the neutral combo, used to have the side combo, got the grab, the tilt, jutsu, air jutsu, charge jutsu, ultimate jutsu, awakening, all these things. And I was actually gonna dedicate an entire portion of this video, like an entire section, solely to explaining Storm's mechanics, but yeah, that would make the video 7 hours long, so I'm not going to be explaining how Storm works. I'm just going to assume that all you guys know how Storm works. So, yeah. Now, you know how Dante's entire style is all about switching styles and basically switching between different weapons, like melee weapons, gun weapons. He he encapsulates a variety of fighting styles like capoeira, boxing, all sorts of things, and he's very apt with weapons of all sorts. So the only character that I could find that actually switches between weapons like this in Storm was PTS Tenten. Now, I mean, of course, Momoshiki in his awakened form has, this mallet, he has this axe and all that, but PTS Tenten, literally, she's all about weapons, and she even has those, or not really guitars, I'm not sure what they're called, like the same thing as Agni and Rudra from DMC, 3. And she even has this entire combo. Like her up combo is similar to this one move from DMC3 with Agni and Rudra. And she also switches between Shuriken and she has the Sunset's Cone 3-section staff that she can also turn into a bow staff, which is literally the same thing that Dante has. Like Dante has the nunchucks, but Cerberus can also transform into a Sunset's Cone, which is a 3-section staff. But when these 3 sections merge, they create this fire bow staff. And Tenten uses both the staff and this 3-section staff, basically. So I think she's like the most accurate thing, replication of Dante's style in Storm. But yeah, so actually, since Kenshiki is a thing in Storm now, I feel like it's only fair that I mention him, because I think he's more adequate as an example for, weapon switching than PTS Tenten or Momoshiki, because this guy's entire moveset revolves around weapon switching, or, well, using weapons mid-combo. Like, his entire moveset is based on some kind of, divine Japanese god weapons, I don't know. And, you can see that his ultimate jutsu, his entire moveset is insanely creative, but his ultimate jutsu especially is really got me by surprise. Like, he dashes at you with his Kanabo bat, and then he, punches you, or, well, slashes you with his trench knife, brass knuckle thingies. Like, he's got some trench knives or something on his knuckles. Then he chains you up with his kusari, or, well, chains. Then he hits you with his trident, or, well, the Magari Yari, I guess. And then he slams you with his mallet, and then he basically strikes you with his Odachi axe. And his neutral combo finisher is basically him using these trench knives, or, well, these brass knuckles. The down combo is, well, he hits you with the axe. And his up combo is insane. It's literally like, he uses his I don't know what that is. It's like a war scythe or a sickle or a kama. I'm not sure. He uses that, and he also uses his naginata or guandao. I'm not sure what that is, but he uses them, simultaneously to create this cyclone of, blades in a way. It's really cool. His air combo also, he hits you with the mallet. His tilt is basically, he just... he uses his claws to, make this ground-shattering blow. He did this in the anime. His jutsu was just, he, uses his Odachi axe. And his grab is, he uses this, giant machete thingy. I don't know. I think it's a dadao. I think it's called a dadao or something. And he uses that, and then he basically, he hits you with his sasumata. That's also an ancient Japanese weapon. So yeah, he's got a lot of things. Like one of his awakening actions, it's he uses you can see all these weapons that he has. He's got I don't know, 9 of them or something. Yeah, basically he has some blade, some machete thingy, some pike or some spear. He's got this sasumata, the Odachi axe, the mallet, this kama or war scythe. He's got this naginata. He's got this magari yari, trident, and he's also got this. I don't know if this is a guandao or something. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, he's got a lot of weapons. It's honestly insane. So yeah. So the combos I've made may be a little, they might be a bit too long by somebody's standards. Now, you know how in Storm 1 and Storm 2 and Storm Generations, every character had really long combos, and they also had side combos. But then in Storm 3, all of those combos got shortened, and the side combos got removed. So apparently this was for the sake of balance, or making the gameplay more, fast-paced. I mean, it was still full of high-octane action to begin with, I still don't think that was a very valid reason. Maybe they just got lazy. So the combos in Storm 4, for example, they're a lot shorter than the movesets from Storm 1 and 2 and Generations, but they've got flashier and better cinematic finishers. Now, you could say that the Storm and the Storm 4 movesets are quality over quantity. Like the movesets from Storm 1, 2, and Generations had a lot of hits, but the cinematic finishers were simply underwhelming. It's simply a close in, like a zoom in, a close up of the attack from a different angle. Like they just used punches and kicks or kunais, and the final animation, the cinematic, would just be another hit. Nothing too specific, nothing too good. Whereas in Storm 4, characters actually don't just use their kunais or punches and kicks mid-combo. They take, I don't know, EMS Sasuke, for example. He uses the Flame Control Sword, he uses the Lightning Sword, he uses Chidori, Kakashi uses Raikiri. They use their movesets, basically. They use everything they have in their arsenal. Like, they use a lot of things, not just, they don't simply rely on their, like, weapon or hands or legs. So that's, like, the difference. In Storm 4 and Revolution and 3, you've got more creative movesets, but they're shorter, and the cinematic finishers are simply better. But is that really quality over quantity? This is pretty subjective. Like, it depends on how you define quality. For example, the movesets from Storm 1 and 2 and Generations, they had more hits, but the cinematic finishers were, like, underwhelming, and the movesets themselves were pretty basic. But that doesn't have to mean that they're actually bad. Because, you know what, I think that it actually takes a lot more time and effort to animate multiple hits than just create a flashy animation or a cutscene. I mean, that's what I think. Like, don't get me wrong, I love both of these styles, and I might even prefer Storm 4 style, shorter combos, but flashier animations and more creative combos. But you know how, take PTS Naruto or PTS Sasuke, for example. In Storm 1, they actually had these side combos. Like, PTS Naruto's side combo literally included those hits from the anime, from their Final Valley battle. And this actually takes time and effort to animate and just come up with more hits. Whereas just coming up with, an animation, I don't think it's that hard. But that's just my 2 cents, honestly. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, Dante's gonna have both. He's gonna have really long moves, like really long combos that will feature a lot of things. They won't just be basic sword slashes or punches and kicks. Since he uses different weapons. So yeah, they'll be very diverse combos, they'll be pretty long, and the cinematic finishers will be, pretty flashy, and I try to be as creative as possible, so yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy this. So let's start off with Dante's character select animation. So you know how every character in Storm basically does this little animation, this little movement when you select them and the character selection screen. Well, Dante's character select animation would be the Double Sword Dante taunt. And, it's that taunt where Dante just keeps conjuring Double Sword Dante over and over. And it might seem like, it's a bit too lengthy in comparison to, like, every other Storm character. But it's not that lengthy, and, it really doesn't hurt anybody, so... And now, Dante's stance. So this was kind of complicated for a variety of reasons. So first and foremost, Dante is a swordsman, and you know how he basically has the Double Sword Dante strapped to his back. Well, it's not strapped, but it's on his back. You frequently see him with the sword on his back, and it's a giant sword. So, naturally I was thinking of giving him that kind of stance, with the Double Sword Dante on his back. And this would be similar to how Kisame, Darui, Zabuza, and B have their swords basically strapped to their backs. But there's this one big disparity, that disparity being that all of these characters use nothing but their swords in their combos. Whereas Dante's playstyle revolves around, constantly switching between styles and weapons. I mean, admittedly, B has the Samehada, like, strapped to his back, but he does these insane spins. However, imagine Dante breakdancing on the floor using break spiral in this capoeira-like fashion with Devil Sword Dante on his back. It just wouldn't work in my opinion. So I was thinking about something else. You know how Dante is a playful kind of guy, and he has a lot of stances. So I was like, why not give him the Cerberus stance, or the Balrog kick mode stance? Somewhat like, I don't know, maybe like Naruto, or Asuma, the blow mode Balrog stance is kind of similar to Asuma. So, or, the last Naruto. So I was like, we could totally do that, or maybe the Foss Hat stance. But then I was like, you know what, I kind of just don't feel like we should do that. So in the end, I opted for his in-game idle stance. When you're in-game, when you're in a mission, it's basically the best kind of thing. Like, just a regular pose, a regular stance. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I went with. Even though Dante's quite the acrobat, I think this suits him better. So now we've got Dante's idle animation. So you know how Storm characters all have these. Well, I'm not sure if all of them have them, but a lot of characters in Storm, like Shikamaru or Kabuto or Hidan, they have these idle animations, and this would be Dante's idle animation. The one where he just goes, "What the hell is this?" So, as for Dante's armor break, you know how Storm characters, when you sustain a certain amount of damage, your armor will break, your costume will break, it won't get damaged. So this would be Dante's armor break. It will be him without his trench coat, basically. And, that's about it. So, we've got something else here. We've also got the character intro, or the introduction. So, this used to be a thing in Storm 1, and Storm 1 alone. Like, characters would, do their little quotes, and these quotes would be contingent on the opponent they would be fighting, and they would change. So I decided to give, Dante the following quotes, if you will, the following intros, and they would vary, the position and the quote and all that. So, yeah.
Come on, baby. Come get me. Come on, show me what you got. You ain't scared, are you? And now, I'm gonna play with you. Come on, come at me, boy. Come on, you can do it. Over here.
And now we've got Dante's chakra charge. So Dante's chakra charge would be accumulate, where he basically, accumulates the energy for his Sindel trigger. And it kind of reminds me of Naruto charging his chakra when he's gonna go, when he tries to go KCM. And it also reminds me of Edo Minato, who also does the same thing when he's about to go KCM. Like, both Naruto and Minato put their, their arm, their hand on their chest like that, and Dante does the same thing. So, next up, we've got the substitution. So the substitution in Storm is basically, you've got 4 subs, and most characters simply have that log thingy, like the log. But some characters have different animations, like Sasuke's got that portal thingy, like Kame no Tajikara. Kaguya's got her dimension portal thingy. Shisui's got his teleportation-like thingy. And Dante's substitution would be air trick, where he would go like trick ya. And this is definitely most reminiscent of Shisui's substitution animation. Like, it's the same, like, this blur, these blurry lines, this haze. So yeah, that's about it for Dante's substitution, like air trick. Next we've got Dante's guard. So you know how in Storm you've got Madara's Susanoo Ribcage, or Sasuke's Susanoo Ribcage, or Kimimara's Bones, or Jubito and Six Paths Madara. They like have this truth-seeking orb barrier. So Dante's guard would be the Royal Guard Escort. So, you know, he would use the summoned swords. They would guard him automatically, but Dante would assume his iconic, his legendary Royal Guard position, obviously. So, yeah. Next we got the counter, and now I know what some of you might be thinking. Like, wait, well, what the hell? The counter? But the counter is, it's like the same. Well, actually, it's not. It's not the same for every character. So, there is a split second, like a couple of frames, where every character has, like, they assume a position, a certain position for their counter. And this varies from character to character, like, as you can see here. Not every character does the same pose for their counter. So Dante's counter, or, well, Dante's counter position would be Royal Revenge, simply because I feel like it would be perfect, honestly. I don't know what other purpose this move could, you know, potentially serve, other than it being his counter. So, yeah. Next we've got the double jump. You know, every character in Storm has a single jump, but they also have a double jump. And Dante's double jump would be air hike. The only difference would be that he, you know, has this red circle appear when he jumps for the second time. So, yeah, next up we've got the recovery animation. And you know how when you get blown away in Storm, you can hold your chakra charge button plus jump, and you can recover. So, I guess that, you know, that Dante's recovery animation would be Flipper, you know, which is really reminiscent of how, you know, of how Kabuto and Rinnegan Sasuke recover. So, yeah, that's about it for Dante's recovery animation. As for Dante's air dash, because, you know, air dashes are a thing in Storm, his air dash will be like every other character's air dash, except it would be Sky Star, basically. And the only difference would be that when he starts air dashing, like when he initiates the whole thing, you see that red circle thingy, you know, the same thing that he uses for air hike. So yeah, that will be the only difference, like that one particle, if you will. It's not really a particle, it's more like this circular pattern, if you will. But, you know, other than that, it's pretty much a basic air dash. So, yeah. So, next up, we've got Dante's projectile, or his shuriken. So, you know how Lars from Tekken was a guest character in Storm 2? Well, his shuriken and chakra shuriken were basically this, his sawed-off shotgun and his minigun, I think. So Dante's shuriken, his regular shuriken or projectile, would be ivory shot, where he basically shoots from his ivory gun thrice, and that's about it. But his chakra projectile, or chakra shuriken, would be the COYOTE-A shot shell, where Dante uses his sawed-off shotgun, just like Lars, to, well, basically shoot the opponent. Next up, you know how in Storm you've got these shuriken flip animations? Like, they're not really well, basically, you know, like, if you use your ninja move and you use, you know, like, you press the shuriken button, your character will flip and throw a shuriken, or whatever projectile they have. So Dante's shuriken flip, or his projectile flip ninja move thingy, would be this. Like, he flips like this butterfly flip, and then he just shoots from his ivory gun, and that will be it. Next up, we got Dante's combo startup. Now, Dante's combo startup would be, would start off with the third and fourth hit for the Balrog combo B, followed by the first 4 hits of Cerberus combo A, followed by the million stab, like Dulce or Dante. So this really reminds me, like, the 4 hits for, you know, Cerberus combo A are very reminiscent of Storm 2 Guy's side combo, where he hits you with his nunchucks 4 times or something. So Dante basically does the same thing. He hits you with his nunchucks, his ice nunchucks, 4 times. And the million stab with Dulce or Dante is highly reminiscent of Mifune's neutral combo, where he basically, there's this one point in his neutral combo where he just keeps slashing you just like this, like million stab, he keeps stabbing you like this. So also, I think it's kind of interesting how, you know how the last Sasuke and adult Sasuke, like he wears his cape, and underneath his cape he has his sword. So he basically summons his sword, and when he's done using it mid-combo, you can see his sword disappear, and when it disappears, it makes that sound that shadow clones make when they disappear, you know, like boom! Well, that was a horrible impression, but, you know. So, this kind of reminds me of the way that Dante conjures his dull sword Dante. Like, you can see this, you know, this energy, this red aura that forms as he basically summons his dull sword Dante. And when he's done using it, it disappears in a similar fashion, just like the last Sasuke sword, or adult Sasuke sword. So yeah, that's what this reminds me of. I know it's not exactly accurate, but yeah. Now we've got Dante's neutral combo. So, Dante's neutral combo would be Dance Macabre. I decided to name it that way because that's what it is, honestly. Like, it just contains the last four to five hits of Dance Macabre. And it would be, like, the cinematic finisher would be very flashy, and it would be very impactful. It would be like, you know, like Demon Slayer, you know, like when Tanjiro decapitated Rui and you saw all those like particles flying when he slashed him, like when he swung his sword. This would be, this is what I'm referring to. It would be very impactful. So the cinematic finisher would be just that, but before swinging his sword, you could actually see a close-up of Dante, like he has this shadow appear, you know, like before swinging his sword. You see the shadow of the Sindel trigger flicker, you know, just before he swings the sword. And I'm talking about the same shadow that appears when he charges for his Cindy Awakening. You know, this little flicker you see, like the shadow. So, yeah, basically that would be it. It would be very flashy, very impactful, and it kind of reminds me of B's, like Samehada B's neutral combo, because he basically has this 1, 2, and then he slashes you like 3, like, for the final time, the last time. But there are a lot of combos like this, especially neutral combos, that just end with the character slashing the opponent, like Little Kakashi, Darui Hanzo, EMS Sasuke, etc. So, yeah. Now we've got Dante's down combo. Dante's down combo would be Red Hot Night, and I simply think the name would be very fitting because that's the most prominent thing here, you know, Red Hot Night. So Dante's down combo is one of those things that I had to revise in a way, you know, so after the combo startup, which is the same for every combo obviously, Dante uses the Dull Sword Dante High Time move to like lift the opponent into the air. But this is the sword formation High Time, or well, the Dull Sword Dante, you know, like when his Dull Sword Dante awakens in a way. So Dante uses High Time and lifts the opponent into the air, but these summoned swords appear to lift them, you know, even further into the air. And he follows High Time up with the Balrog Flint Wheel move, where he backs away, and also causes these 4 summoned swords to lift the opponent even further into the air. And then he uses the Fostad red shot, you know, to fire a barrage of small red orbs. And then he also uses round trips to cause these circular blades to, you know, like cut the opponent and suspend them in the air. And as soon as he shoots the opponent with the, you know, red orbs and the summoned swords, you know, well, round trips, the cutscene plays, and, you know, Dante does the Red Hot Night move, causing this meteor shower to overwhelm the opponent, basically. So yeah, that's basically how it works. High Time, Flint Wheel, Red Shot, round trips, and then the cutscene plays, and it's Red Hot Night. And this might seem like a bit too long here, but it wouldn't be that long. Like the barrage of, you know, red orbs and summoned swords, it would be a lot shorter and faster in Storm. So yeah. So this is very reminiscent of you know, of Rinnegan Sasuke's down combo, where he throws a Chibaku Tensei meteor at you, or Kaguya's down combo, where she throws these icebergs, like ice rocks at you. I'm not sure what they are. It kind of reminds me of Zabuza's up combo finisher, like, high times, it's kind of the same, launching the opponent into the air. So, it also reminds me of Madara's neutral combo, with the Goombay. Basically, Madara's neutral combo has Madara using Yasuka Magatama, and, the combo ends with Madara just watching the explosion. So that's how the combo ends. And here, Dante would just watch the explosion, as you can see here in these screenshots. Also, this kind of reminds me of Momoshiki's down combo with the nuke, with the Bijou Bomb, because, he just drops it down in a way. So, yeah. So, yeah. That's about it. So Dante will have 2 side combos. Yeah, I don't think it hurts to give him 2 side combos given how extensive his moveset is. So, he would have the right side combo and the left side combo. So the right side combo would basically just be Regicide, or King Slayer, whatever you want to call it. It's a move where he uses his lightning form of Cerberus, his Sunset's Cone 3-section staff, to unleash a relentless barrage of hits on his opponent. And yeah, basically that will be all. He just does that and he finishes it off with that one last swing. And that's what his cinematic finisher animation would be. Just him swinging the Sunset's Cone and unleashing these, lightning sparks or whatever you want to call them. And I couldn't exactly find a Storm equivalent for this other than the third Raikage's Tilt, where he goes full body and spirit. So basically that is the only thing. I don't know why, the swing, the effect that it has on the ground, it kind of reminds me, plus it's both lightning, but both attacks are lightning based. So yeah, that's about it for his right side combo. Now, as for Dante's left side combo, I decided to give him Cerberus Combo D, which is the combo, with the Fire Bow Staff form of Cerberus, and I couldn't exactly find a Storm equivalent for this combo, but I know that, Hiruzen and Tenten use this kind of staff in their combos. Not the exact same thing, but it kind of, it's kind of the same. So I decided to call this move Incendiary Staff Barrage, because it's like a barrage of hits. And the cinematic finisher would simply be, the final hit, like Dante hitting his opponent with this Fire Bow Staff. Yeah, now we've got the up combo. Now, the up combo might be a little too long. It's basically Double Sword Dante prop Shredder. It's prop then Shredder. And then high times, like the Summoned Sword high times, followed by Crystal, and then followed by Thunderclap, and then followed by the Divine Dragon. Now, as you can see, this combo is very long. So I decided to call this combo Divine Thunder Dragon Frostbite, because it's basically, it ends with this Divine Dragon move, and before that you've got Thunderclap, before that you've got Crystal, so, Divine Thunder Dragon Frostbite. It's pretty flashy, but I'd say it's really fitting. So the thing with this combo is that you don't exactly have to execute the entire combo. You could simply stop after high times or after Crystal, but you could, choose to do the whole thing and, have Thunderclap and the Divine Dragon thing. So it's kind of like Iruka, Iruka already has a few, his up combo already launches the opponent into the air after, I don't know, the 4th or 5th hit, but you could choose to fire a fireball. Same with Storm 2 Jiraiya's up combo. Now, this combo is very reminiscent of Haku, because Haku basically his up combo has ice spikes emerging from the ground, which is literally, it's like identical to Crystal. And you got a lot of characters in Storm whose up combo finishers are just some spikes, like EMS Sasuke, Adult Sasuke, Jubito, Sage Kabuto, etc. But if you want to do the entire combo, with the Divine Dragon, then I guess it would be kind of reminiscent of A, or Sakura, or Six Paths Naruto, and yeah, basically, that's about it. And also, I think it's kind of important to mention, it's kind of interesting how Thunderclap as a move functions similarly to Utakata's bubbles or Tayuya's jutsu. Like, it follows the opponent, and you've got these lightning orbs. So, yeah. Now, Dante is going to have 3 air combos, and if you think that's kind of like me going overboard, I just want to say that KCM Naruto, or well, Naruto in his awakening, in one of his awakenings, has 3 air combos, like the neutral air combo, the down air combo, and the side air combo, and in Storm Generations, he had an up air combo as well. Don't know why they retained these 3, but decided to remove the 4th one. I have no idea, but yeah, so it's totally feasible, it's totally viable. Like, I don't see how having 3 air combos, or multiple air combos, would hurt anybody. So, yeah, the neutral air combo. The neutral air combo, I decided to call it Aerial Feather Rave, and it's pretty self-explanatory in a way. It consists of the first 3 hits of Aerial Rave, and then, the Feather combo, which is 3 hits, it's like the Balrog air combo. And this is, pretty reminiscent of, maybe Zabuza's air combo, or, yeah, basically, and the final hit, like the Feather combo, it kind of reminds me of Asuma's air combo, or Roshi, or Tsunade, or Sarada, or something. Yeah, that's about it for his neutral air combo. That's his neutral air combo. Now, he's also going to have a side air combo. Now, the side air combo is, I decided to call it a Scorching Rainstorm Breaker. Now, this is gonna consist of Firestorm, followed by an Air Trick, followed by Ebony and Ivory Rainstorm, followed by a Helmbreaker. Or, well, yeah, basically. Now, this move is, I don't really know. Like, the final hit with Helmbreaker kind of reminds me of Kisame's air combo, how he drops with Samehada. But, this teleportation with, from, Firestorm to like Rainstorm, it kind of reminds me of Edo Minato's Awakening, Edo Minato's regular air combo, or maybe Bijou Naruto's air combo, because they kind of like, teleport in the middle of their air combo in a way. So yeah. Now Dante's also got a down air combo. Now, the down air combo is called HIGHSIDE breaking, and it consists of HIGHSIDE, like it starts with HIGHSIDE, followed by this Cavalier air combo, like the 2 hits, and then, it ends with breaking. And I really couldn't find a Storm equivalent for this, because believe it or not a lot of Storm characters have dual motorcycle chainsaws. But, yeah, you can't really blame me for that one. Now, so now we've got the grab. The grab, I decided to call it a Pyromania. Because it consists of percussion, like the startup for the grab is percussion, and then Dante does Pyromania, which is, the move that he does with the Balrog kick mode. And really, it would be about 5 seconds long, I'd say. It's not too shabby, it's not too long. So the startup for this grab kind of reminds me of Rinnegan Sasuke, or Adult Sasuke maybe, like how they... Rinnegan Sasuke, Adult Sasuke, and Darui. Yeah, like they have this grab startup where they basically stab like the ground with their lightning sword. So yeah, this is very reminiscent of that. And as for Pyromania, I don't really know. It kind of reminds me of Storm 1 Guy's Awakening Jutsu, like one of the huge clusterfucks, like this barrage of kicks, and the guy does in his awakened state in Storm 1 as a jutsu. So that's about it for his grab, and now we've got the tilt. Now, Dante is gonna have 2 tilts. Don't at me. Like, Boruto has 3 tilts. I absolutely see no reason as to why characters in Storm would not be able to have multiple tilts. Boruto is the prime, like, he's the prime example of that, because it just goes on to say how CC2 was kind of lazy, they didn't really want to include these things. So yeah, Dante is going to have 2 tilts. The first tilt would be Ice Age. Now, that's basically this thing, like, where he uses the ice form of Cerberus to create a barrier around himself. And this would work like the Almighty Push, maybe, or Madara's Gunbai tilt, you know, Uchiha Reflection. And it kind of looks like, you know, it kind of looks like Gaara's Awakening Action sand barrier thingy, but it doesn't really matter. The important thing is it would push the opponent away. It's not really accurately depicted here. And I should probably mention how it would deflect fireballs, or maybe not deflect projectile jutsus, but it would cancel them out. It would work exactly the same as Shinra Tensei, or the Almighty Push in Storm 4. So that would be his first tilt, as you can see here. Now, his second tilt would be Ground Trick, and this is basically just Dante teleporting, you know, like he teleports in front of his opponent, and that's about it. And this is pretty reminiscent of Bijou Naruto's tilt, or Six Path's Madara's tilt, or even Guy's tilt, where they just, you know, like teleport to their opponent. So yeah, now we've got the jutsu, and Dante's gonna have 2 jutsus. So Jutsu 1 is gonna be Drive Overdrive. Now, I really ought to explain this in more detail. So Drive Overdrive. Drive is basically 1 slash. Like, Dante does 1 slash, and that's it. Overdrive, however, is 3 slashes. This jutsu has active input. And how do I put this? Not only do you get to choose whether you're gonna, you know, just execute 1 slash or 3 slashes, but you can also charge this jutsu, not 1, not 2, but 3 times. Now, I should probably say that this jutsu is very reminiscent of a lot of things in Storm, really. Now, you've got Mitsuki, who has this kind of thing. You've got Fu, EMS Sasuke's jutsu, Danzo's tilt. You've got a lot of things here, right? But the most important things, like the things that are crucial, like pivotal to mention, are Shisui and Hokage Naruto. Now, Shisui's jutsu is like Uchiha style blade halo dance or something. I'm not really sure. So this jutsu has active input. You can do 1 slash or 2 slashes or 3 slashes, right? And this is pretty much how Dante's Drive Overdrive would work. Drive would be 1 slash, Overdrive would be 3 slashes. But then you've got Hokage Naruto. Hokage Naruto's jutsu is Rasengan. However, you can charge this jutsu 3 times. If you charge it once, you get the Rasen Shuriken, which is the fastest. If you charge it twice, you get the magnet-style Rasen Shuriken, which basically follows and tracks the opponent. And if you charge it 3 times, you've got the lava-style Rasen Shuriken, which basically it deals the most damage, like it inflicts a lot of damage, and it also breaks the opponent's guard. Like, if you're guarding, it's useless. Like, this jutsu is just gonna break your guard. So, Drive Overdrive is a mixture of Shisui's jutsu and Hokage Naruto's jutsu. The first charge is the fastest, obviously. Like, you charge it once, and it's the fastest.
Take this! Take this!
If you charge it twice, you get more range. But if you charge the jutsu 3 times, like thrice, you get the most range, plus the most damage, plus it has this guard break feature, basically. You know, it has this feature where it breaks the opponent's guard.
Take this! Take this!
So yeah, you can choose whether you want to go with 1 slash or 3 slashes. You can choose whether you want to charge it once, twice, 3 times, or not charge it at all. Like, you can choose not to charge it at all. So yeah, that's about it for Drive Overdrive, as you can see. Now, the second jutsu is Homing Twins. And it's this move where Dante, I think it's called multiple twins in the game, but this sounds better in my opinion because it's got this homing effect. And it's basically the double Kalina An. Dante simply uses this and fires a lot of rockets. And this is very reminiscent of Darui, or Darui's jutsu and Kakuzu's jutsu, because, you know, it basically has a lot of rockets flying towards the opponent. So, yeah, that's about it for the second jutsu. And now we've got the ultimate jutsu. First, let me say that the ultimate jutsu startup would be Stinger. And Stinger, I guess this ultimate jutsu startup is kind of similar to Hokage Naruto's ultimate jutsu startup, or even better, like, better yet, the last Sasuke's ultimate jutsu startup. And this is kind of, you know, similar to like Kenshiki's ultimate jutsu startup, where he just dashes at you with his bat. So, but yeah, so the ultimate jutsu, it's like, how do I put this? It's called Catastrophic Demonic Judgment. And you have the description here. Like, Dante takes his double sword. He basically charges with Stinger, and as soon as he stabs the opponent, like, you've got these summon stingers, like summon swords, that emerge from the sword, and they pierce the opponent, pushing them away even further. And then they push them away into the air, where they basically assume this round trips position, where they start cutting the opponent midair, right? Like, and the opponent is suspended and is being cut with the summoned swords. And while the opponent is being cut with the summoned swords, Dante charges his Red Hot Knight move, and basically he summons 8 meteors that fall on the opponent. And Dante then enters his Cindy T form, and you can see, like, the explosions from the meteor shower and the demonic energy that Dante is being imbued with, like, they start colliding and they make this really nice scene. And Dante then basically summons his double sword. Dante creates that circle thingy in the air, and he uses Judgment to basically slash the opponent along with the meteors in this frenetic barrage of slashes and stuff. And then he finishes it off with a giant explosion, you know, like, basically Judgment. And after this, he basically reverts to his human form and drops to the ground, and that's about it. So that's his first ultimate jutsu. And here you can see, like, you know, Judgment. I don't know why, you know, just to get a better picture of what this Judgment sequence would look like, to some extent. The second ultimate jutsu is a Real Impact. Well, the ultimate jutsu startup is Real Impact, and I really gotta say, this is identical to Roshi's ultimate jutsu startup. I swear, like, Roshi uses the Balrog. His lava style is literally, he gets this magma or lava fist thingy, and he uses that for his attacks. And, you know, the ultimate jutsu startup is basically Real Impact, and I think it goes perfectly well. Now, the second ultimate jutsu is called Chaotic Advent Obliteration, and it basically has Dante use Real Impact to launch the opponent into the air, and then he immediately activates his DT, he flies towards the opponent, and, like, he starts basically beating the opponent up with you know, his lightning form of Cerberus, and you see and he uses Skystar and Air Hike to teleport from one position to the other, and you see this barrage of lightning hits. Sort of how Adult Sasuke's neutral combo ends, basically the cinematic finisher for Adult Sasuke's neutral combo, or Killua's ultimate jutsu in Jump Force. That's how it would look like just lightning everywhere, you know. And then Dante basically goes into Sindal trigger form, but it's not a long scene. He immediately goes into this, he taps into this power, like Kimimaro in his ultimate jutsu, like he just immediately goes into Cindy T form, and he uses Advent to immediately teleport to the opponent, and you see these after images and all that. And as soon as he teleports to the opponent, he uses like Umbra at point blank range, and the opponent like gets sent flying. And Dante immediately follows this up with a barrage of loose beams, or luce, I'm not sure. And as the opponent is basically being overwhelmed with the loose beams, Dante, you know, does the demolition attack, and he creates this portal around the opponent, and the opponent implodes and explodes, and it results in this colossal explosion, like of vibrant colors, if you will. And it kind of, like, the explosion itself reminds me of Storm 3 Iyama Sasuke's ultimate jutsu, like with his armored Susanoo, you know, the explosion that he makes there. So yeah, that's about it for his ultimate jutsu too. Whew, so yeah. Also, if you think the ultimates, both of the ultimates are like too long, I'm not sure how long these ultimates will be. Maybe about 20 to 22 seconds. But you see, in Storm 1, the longest ultimate jutsu was Hiruzen. So Hiruzen's ultimate jutsu, the Reaper Death Seal, was 26 seconds long. And every ultimate was about 20 plus seconds long in Storm 1. And then they shortened the ultimates significantly, and they abbreviated them basically in Storm 2, to the point where, like, every ultimate in Storm 2 felt like a grab. It was really bad. And then they gradually started making them long again, and to the point where Adult Sasuke's ultimate jutsu is now the longest ultimate jutsu. It's 20 seconds long, and not to mention that you've got team ultimate jutsus that can be 27 to 30 seconds long, with the Akatsuki team ultimate jutsu being 30 seconds long. So I literally don't think length would be an issue, but believe me, this ultimate jutsu, like both ultimate jutsu 1 and 2, I don't think they would exceed 30 seconds. I think it'd be something around 20 to 23 at best. So, yeah. Also, you might be wondering, like, well, what about these explosions? Why is it so flashy? Well, you know how literally every ultimate jutsu in Storm, especially Storm 4, it basically always ends in some kind of explosion, so yeah. And most ultimates in Storm 4, like especially in Storm 4, have these characters throwing meteors or destroying meteors, you know, Chibaku Tensei, Tengai Shinsei, Six Paths Madara, Rinnegan Sasuke, and all that, so yeah. Also, I don't know why, but the effect that Demolition has, it kind of reminds me of Utakada's ultimate jutsu, like the finishing explosion. And it kind of reminds me of Kaguya's final truth-seeking orb explosion, so I don't know why. It's not really that accurate, but yeah. And now, Dante's instant awakening. The double trigger. Now, you might be wondering, what? Nani? Instant awakening? How? That's not allowed. That's not a thing in Storm. Shut the fuck up. It was a thing in Storm 3. It was a thing in Storm Revolution. I don't care. Like I said, we're bending the mechanics a little for this guest character. It doesn't really matter. And after all, this doesn't really have to be an instant awakening. It could just be a selectable awakening. Like, you don't have to... You can have two different kinds of awakenings. I kind of got pissed when Itachi lost his armored Susanoo from the anime, and he got his perfect Susanoo. Like, they should have made this, like, electable, I don't know, optional. Like, you can choose between two awakenings. I think that would have been great. This doesn't necessarily have to be an instant awakening. It could be a true awakening, but he could have two true awakenings. It doesn't really matter. This could also be a separate character, because I'm giving his instant awakening an entire separate moveset. Yeah, that's right. Now, you know how in Storm 1, you had PTS Lee, PTS Naruto, PTS Sasuke, and Kimimaro. These four characters had completely different movesets, and even a new ultimate in their awakenings. Like, Sasuke had the Curse Mark level 2 awakening, Naruto had the One Tail QB Cloak, Kimimaro had the Earth Seal Curse Mark, Lee had the 8 Gates, and yeah, Naruto in Storm Generations and Storm 3 in his KCM awakenings, like, both awakenings had entirely different movesets, like with a down combo, air combo, everything. So yeah, basically Naruto in Storm Generations and Storm 3 had an entire different moveset. Like, his moveset was completely different from his regular moveset. Like, he had a new air combo, a new up combo, a new down combo, a new neutral combo, a new tilt, a new grab, a new jutsu, new shuriken, new ninja moves, everything. So this is exactly what we would do for Dante here, though to some extent. You know, most of the time Awakenings in Storm, like, they either... I don't know, they don't do anything. Either they're not gonna do anything, or they're gonna just, you know, when I say they don't do anything, I mean, some awakenings, basically, they just give you more damage, more speed, and they make you immune to shuriken, you know. But, like, Shino, like PTS Shino. And some awakenings simply give you two awakening actions, but your moveset is the same. Most awakenings, however, give you a transformation where you have one combo, like a neutral combo, and this combo usually doesn't have a cinematic finisher and is only 4 to 5 hits long. They give you a new air combo, they give you a new grab, which is also usually not a grab, it's just a guard break. Like, it's not cinematic, except for, you know, Six Paths Madara, basically. Six Paths Madara has a limbo clone grab thingy, which is cinematic. But most grabs are not cinematic, they're just guard breaks, and yeah, and you got a new Till, new Shuriken and all that, but you don't really have a down combo, you don't really have an up combo, and they're really short, they're not cinematic. You do, however, have Jiraiya and Kushina, who in their awakenings, they have a neutral combo, but they also have a down combo, which is cinematic. So yeah, but Dante would be his instant awakening, or whatever you want to call this, it would have a completely different moveset, like KCM Naruto, or PTS Sasuke, PTS Naruto, Kimimaro, PTS Lee. So yeah, now Dante's double trigger, it basically replenishes his health in game, but doing that in Storm would be blasphemous, so we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be giving him that feature. So yeah, now as for the stance for, you know, the double trigger awakening, it would basically be the Cavalier stance without the goggles on. Now, as for the DT idle animation, it would be, you know, like, you know how Dante has two idle animations, basically. The first idle animation is if you don't move your mouse. Like, if you don't move your mouse or your controller at all, Dante's gonna do this idle animation. But if you move the mouse but don't move Dante, then he's gonna do the idle animation we set as his regular idle animation. So yeah, this would be his idle animation. It kind of reminds me of Sage Mode Naruto's stance. But his Cavalier stance, I think, would be kind of like reminiscent of Bijou Naruto's stance. So I'm not quite sure. But yeah, this would be his idle animation. Now, he would have a triple jump, which would be like the trickster reactor thingy, you know, like he gets a triple jump. In game, you could even jump like 4 times, which would be a quadruple jump. But I think it would be overkill for Storm. And you know how Guy, 8 Gates Guy, like Guy in his 8 Gates Awakening has a triple jump. So this is basically the same thing. Like, he has a triple jump, which is reactor. So yeah. Now we have the dash. Now, I wanted to get creative for the dash. I wanted to give him full throttle, which is basically Dante, riding his bike, his cavalier, into the opponent. And it might look a little slow here, and, I obviously wouldn't include the final hit, but I think it could work. I think it could work perfectly fine. And yeah, this would be his dash. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I think it's kind of cool. The whole full throttle thing as his dash, it kind of reminds me of Mecha Naruto's dash, actually. So I should probably add that. So, yeah, let's, what else we got? We got the Shuriken, right? Or what is it now? The projectile. So the DT Shuriken would be Interceptor, right? And and it's basically, it's Dante using his summoned swords and throwing them. He doesn't really throw them; they move on their own. So this kind of reminds me of Renegon Sasuke's Shuriken or Gaara's Chakra Shuriken. I don't know why, but the shape kind of reminds me of that. So next we got the DT Chakra Shuriken, which is the Faust, the Faust had red shot, and this is basically just Dante shooting his red orbs, I don't know, maybe it's the same as Jiraiya's Awakening Chakra Shuriken, like the Senbon thing he uses. I'm not quite sure, but it could work, right? Like, it could work. Yeah, basically that's about it for Shuriken. Now, of course, I decided to change the startup for Dante's Double Trigger Awakening. So this Awakening will have a different combo startup, and that startup would be the third, fourth, and fifth hit of Balrog combo B, followed by the second, third, and fourth hit for Del Sordante combo B, followed by the Ice Revolver form of Cerberus. That move that you use with the Ice form of Cerberus. So basically, like I said, it's combo B plus all this, and I gotta say, this really reminds me of PTS Sakura's neutral combo and Zabuza's neutral combo, followed by the final hit for Kimimaru's Awakening combo. Like, I'm not sure if you're following, but I have it on screen. You can see that it's really similar, honestly. Like, the way Dante hits and the way Sakura hits, and the way, Dante swings his sword, and the way Zabuza swings his sword, and the way Dante spins with a revolver, and the way, Kimimaru does a similar kind of thing. I'd say it's really, really, like, the resemblance is uncanny. So, yeah, that's about it for the startup, and the neutral combo would be Voltaic Black Twist. That's what I decided to call it. So this will basically just be Cavalier. The first two hits for Cavalier combo A, followed by Slipstream, followed by the second hit of Cavalier combo B, and then followed by the final or third hit for Cavalier combo A. I know it sounds kind of confusing, but this is how it would work. And the cinematic finisher would basically just be Dante spinning his dual motorcycle chainsaws in this rotation-like kind of, rotary kind of fashion. And this kind of reminds me of Kiba's neutral combo cinematic finisher. I don't know why. Like, I really couldn't find anything else that really involves spinning something as a cinematic finisher, except for maybe Choji or, A's neutral combo. Actually, I guess the Kinshiki's up combo is even more fitting as Dante's, DT neutral combo. But if anything, it is, it's like basically like Dante's Sai combo I made a side combo I made a moveset for Dante, and from the DMC reboot, and he has this. I think it's his like right side combo or left side combo, where he uses the Aquila tornado move, and that's basically what this is. Like it's literally identical. But yeah, that's basically all I can say for his neutral combo. Now, his down combo is, I decided to call it Lightning Stream Dive, and you'll see why. So, this is basically just the final three hits for Cerberus combo B, the windmill combo. So he does the two swings, and then he does the windmill where he spins his ice nunchucks, basically. And then he follows this up with, percussion, and then he follows it up with cruiser dive. Like, he just does this, and then he drops, like, he freezes the opponent with it, like, by spinning his nunchucks, then he stuns them with lightning, like percussion, creating this lightning stream, and then he jumps and drops into this lightning stream, and basically, he uses Balrog, he uses Cruiser Dive, and this is how this combo ends. He dives into the lightning stream. That's the name. So this kind of reminds me of well, it reminds me of a lot of things. So basically, you know how Guy in Storm 2 had this side combo with the nunchucks. So at one point, he literally spins his nunchucks, like, in the same fashion as Dante's windmill. It's literally identical. It's, well, not really identical, but it's very similar. And the lightning stream thingy, like percussion, I don't know, like, Storm 3 MS Sasuke uses something similar in his up combo. And as for the cruiser dive, basically the cinematic finisher would be Dante, dropping from midair into this onto the ground. And the thing is, there's a plethora, like there are a plethora of cinematic finishers just like this. Usually for down combos or grabs, or I don't know. Like, you've got let's see, like, basically you've got I don't know, the third Ray Kage. You've got Jirobo, you've got Kushina, you've got Mitsuki, you got PTS Lee, Sakura, the last Sasuke, Zetsu Obito. All these characters basically drop to the ground, from the air, and their cinematic finishers for their down combos. So yeah, that's about all I can say for Dante's down combo. So yeah, that's about it. Now, his awakening will also have two side combos. So the first side combo, the right side combo, would be, well, I decided to name it Incandescent Rod. And yeah, so Dante uses pole play, followed by rock back, followed by Cerberus combo C, followed by hot stuff. So the cinematic finisher for this combo would basically be hot stuff, where Dante spins his fire bow staff, and then he just hits the opponent. And you know how in his DT, Dante also sends this fiery shockwave, this wave of fire, if you will, or energy, I'm not sure, towards the opponent. So this also reminds me of a lot of things. So first off, the fire bow staff. So Cerberus combo C with the fire bow staff is 3 hits, which is exactly like Hiruzen's tilt. Like, I don't know why, but it reminds me of that a lot. Hot stuff is very similar to Hiruzen's neutral combo cinematic finisher. And not only that, it's also similar to EMS Sasuke's neutral combo cinematic finisher, because, Sasuke does the flame control sword thingy, and he hits you with it, but he also sends this barrage of flames, towards the opponent, and this would pretty much be exactly like Dante's fiery shockwave that he sends with the rod. So the way that, Dante uses rock back mid-combo to, like, balance himself on the staff, in a way, it's kind of reminiscent of Kage Summit Sasuke's original down combo, from Storm Generations, where he just, he balances himself on his sword, which he used against B. As a matter of fact, Takasasuke has that as his neutral combo, but that used to be his side combo. And it's also his up combo, so yeah. So that would be it for Dante's right side combo, but now we also have the left side combo. Now, the DT left side combo, I decided to call it Absolute Zero Vermilion Slash, because, well, you'll see. I mean, it's basically the, like, Cerberus combo A with an Ice Nunchucks, but without the first 4 hits. And because the first 4 hits are already in his regular startup, and I didn't really want to make it that long or reuse them. So yeah, it's basically Cerberus combo A without the first 4 hits, and then it's followed by Overdrive, So this reminds me a lot of PTS Lee's side combo with the nunchucks. Dante swings them in some kind of, like, it's literally the same, like, the same fashion. It's identical, honestly. Well, maybe not identical, but it's pretty similar. And he would follow this up with Overdrive, right? So, I called it Absolute Zero because the nunchucks are, made of ice, and the overdrive slashes are red, or kind of like vermilion, if you will, and vermilion kind of sounds cool. So, but yeah, the cinematic finisher, which is Dante slashing his opponent with overdrive. And this kind of reminds me of, maybe Shisui's neutral combo cinematic finisher. I'm not quite sure, but I can't exactly find a better example, a better equivalent, if you will. So yeah, that's about it. So as for Dante's DT up combo, it's a little different. I decided to call it Vengeful Blaze Spiral, and you'll see why. So basically, after executing the combo startup, Dante uses the Balrog blow mode and hits the opponent thrice, but he doesn't just use the blow mode, he uses the welter move, or Bantam Revenge, if you will. So he uses the welter move and hits the opponent thrice, all while moving around. He hits them. He goes right, then he goes left. So he hits the opponent 3 times with the Balrog blow mode, and then he uses Metal Break with the summoned swords, basically drilling his opponent with this little cyclone of summoned swords, and then he follows it up with Break Spiral, launching the opponent into the air. So why Vengeful Blaze Spiral? So basically Blaze, because, it's basically fire, so, Blaze sounds kind of cool. And the final move is called Break Spiral. And Vengeful. Why Vengeful? Well, because, he does the Bantam Revenge or Welter move, so I decided to, like, call it this way. And now, what does this remind me of? It reminds me of a lot of things, if I gotta say something. So, first off, it reminds me of Storm 1 Kabuto's neutral combo. You know how Dante basically moves around while hitting his opponent, right? Like, he basically moves around, like, goes left and right. So, Kabuto does the same thing. He does something really similar in Storm 1 with his neutral combo, basically hitting the opponent, but basically punching the opponent while going left and right. So, you've also got Asuma, I think, or Hebi or Takasasuke doing a similar thing. And as for the combo finisher, or Break Spiral, where Dante spins on the ground, or break dances, and then basically launches the opponent up into the air in this capoeira style, basically it kind of reminds me of the last Naruto's up combo finisher, where he also does a similar thing, or maybe Lee's down combo. At one part of his down combo, at one point he does this thing where he spins on the ground, kicking the opponent, and Six Paths Madara's awakening combo, like his neutral awakening combo, has him spin on the ground and breakdance in a similar fashion. So this is what it reminds me of. I had half a mind to do something different. Basically, I wanted to do something. You know how Rinnegan Sasuke, basically, in his combo startup, he flips over the opponent. Like he flips and then basically he jumps over the opponent and then does something else. I was gonna use Rolling Blaze to have Dante jump over the opponent and then continue his combo. But I figured that it would it would have been a lot of work, and I also think I couldn't exactly replicate it accurately in DMC. It was just kind of weird with the camera and all. So this this would be his up combo. Like his base form, in his awakening, Dante would also have 3 air combos. Please give me a break. Dante's entire playstyle is basically, well, Dante's playstyle, his style. Well, DMC is the kind of game that has a lot of air combos, and it focuses on stylish air combat. I mean, you could choose not to do that, but, you know, you're missing out on a lot. So Dante in his DT form would have 3 air combos. So let's start off with his neutral air combo, right? I decided to call it revolving frigid thunderclap. Like, what? A frigid thunderclap? What are you talking about? Well, it's basically Dante using the air ice revolver, followed by the lightning revolver, or the long revolver, followed by the Cerberus ice nunchuck swing, and then followed by long barrel, where Dante basically shoots a lightning bolt at the opponent. And this reminds me a lot of well, what does this remind me of? Honestly, it reminds me of Kakuzu's awakening air combo where he spins, you know, like in the air. And it also reminds me of Takasasuke's Moonlight air combo, or maybe, I don't know, Six Paths Madara's air combo is what this reminds me of the most, simply because of the finisher, like long barrel. Dante shoots a thunderbolt, like fires a thunderbolt at his opponent, which is literally what Madara does, like in his, you know, air combo, like Six Paths Madara, he uses that Shadow style, Thunder Blast. So that's pretty similar in my opinion. So yeah, next we've got the side air combo, which I decided to call Celestial Star Orbiter, which is basically Dante uses Sky Star like thrice, but each time he uses it, he shoots with his ebony and ivory guns once. So he shoots with ebony, uses Sky Star, shoots with ebony, uses Sky Star, then does that again, and then he uses the Phoshat Red Shot to fire a barrage of red orbs, and then he finishes the whole thing with Friction, which is this Balrog kick that basically smites the opponent. So this is it's really hard to like say what this reminds me of, but what I had in mind was to have Dante move around, right? So I think this kind of reminds me of Edo Minato's Awakening air combo, where he just teleports and does all these things like, you know what I'm trying to say. Now, as for Dante basically shooting these red orbs mid-combo, I would like to remind you of Tobirama's air combo where he shoots those water balls or water orbs in his air combo, or maybe Mecha Naruto, he does a similar thing. Mei does a similar thing. Who else? You've got the fourth Kazekage with his sand orb thingies. So yeah, this is totally been done before in Storm. I don't think it will be that unusual. So yeah, and as for Friction, I think it kind of reminds me of PTS Lee's Awakening air combo. So yeah, that's kind of what this reminds me of, if I'm gonna be honest. And that's the initial idea that I had, and I'm glad I got. I'm glad I was able to like accurately replicate it more or less in DMC5. So yeah, that's about it for his side air combo. Now he has has the down air combo that is basically, I decided to call it frenetic tenebrous rotation. This is insanely fucking cringy, but who cares? Like, basically Dante uses the Cavalier air combo, but the Sword Master, air combo, the one where he literally uses the bike, not the dual chainsaw, and he just spins it around his opponent. And I really couldn't couldn't be bothered to find a Storm equivalent for this. I just think it could work. It doesn't matter if I can't find an appropriate equivalent or not. So yeah, let's move on to the grab. So the DT grab would be cross-line idling. So he starts the grab with cross-line, the Cavalier move, like cross-line, and then he does idling. And yeah, that's about it. I couldn't find an equivalent in Storm for this either, but I just feel like it could work. It would work perfectly as a grab. So yeah. Now we've got the tilt. Now this is very important. So his tilt. So Dante and his instant awakening, or basically his double trigger awakening, would also have two tilts. Shut the fuck up. Like, Dante's first tilt would be Scarlet Mark. So Scarlet Mark is, how do I put this? It's, basically the said hat move that he uses. I'm not sure what it's called. So as you can see, Dante basically just throws the hat, and if you, how do I put this? This is so weird. Like, you throw the hat at your opponent, right? Like, and then you press the attack button immediately after throwing the hat, and the opponent will basically be drawn towards you. So this works kind of like, I don't know, maybe Mitsuki's tilt or Nagato's tilt with the universal pull. But I would say that this works like Hidan's tilt. Like, Hidan has the same thing where he uses his scythe, like he throws it at you and he pulls you towards him, and you get to choose whether you're gonna, do something, whether you're gonna kick the opponent away or if you're just gonna have him drawn towards you. But this is kind of complicated. I'm really going to try and explain this. So I play Storm on the keyboard, and I'm not sure what it's like on the controller, but basically when I use the tilde, so W is my assigned key for going forward, right? And V is my key for punching, or, well, hitting or attacking, right? So when I use the tilde, when I use any tilde, basically, I press W or A or S or D and the attack button, right? So let's take Kimimaru's tilde. I could choose to press W plus V, and this is going to happen. But if I press W plus V, this is going to happen. But if I press W plus V plus V plus V, like, if I keep pressing the attack button 3 times, Kimimaru is going to execute his entire tilde. So if you do this tilde, and if I, like, let's say that everybody has the same controls as me, and everybody plays Storm on PC with these controls. So this tilde would work like this. Like, you press W, and then you press V, and then you press V, right? Like, this is how it will work. If you do this, like if you press W, V, and V, your opponent will be drawn towards you. However, you could choose to just press W plus V, like, that attack button, and not press V a second time, right? So what happens if you do this? So if you do the whole tilt immediately, like if you press W plus V, your opponent will be drawn towards you, or dragged towards you. But if you just press W plus V, and the hat is on the opponent, and you don't drag them towards you, you will be able to teleport to your opponent for the next, I don't know, like basically 8 seconds. So like I said here, like the full tilt is just that, like you place the hat on your opponent and immediately you pull them towards you. But if you just hold the analog stick or press W plus V, this will, this will place the hat on the opponent, and as long as the hat is on the opponent, you will not pull them towards you. Instead, you can teleport to them by tilting the analog stick or basically pressing W plus V. So every single time you press W plus V in the next 8 seconds, or will tilt, you will teleport towards the opponent, or well, in front of them. And yeah, so this really reminds me of Edo Minato's tilt, where he does the flying Raijin tag, like he marks you with the flying Raijin tag, and that's his tilt. And whenever you tilt, you will teleport directly in front of your opponent or behind them. I'm not sure. So this is a mixture of Hidan's tilt to some extent and Edo Minato's tilt. You can choose to do the whole tilt immediately, like placing the hat on your opponent and drawing them towards you, or you can just place the hat on your opponent without subsequently drawing them towards you, but instead deciding to teleport towards them by tilting in the next 8 seconds, because after those 8 seconds have passed, the hat will basically will disappear. So that's Dante's tilt. This is only his first tilt. His second tilt is Heavy Jolt, which is pretty self-explanatory. I didn't rename this move. So Heavy Jolt is basically Dante simply rushing towards the opponent from a certain distance. This reminds me of Sakura's tilt. It's literally identical. It's the same thing. Like Dante basically rushes, he goes in with this punch, and as soon as he connects the tilt, he will continue his regular combo startup. That's how this works. So it's basically the same as Sakura. So there's somebody else, I think, who has a similar thing, some other character. You got Shisui, like he does a similar thing. You got the last Naruto, you got PTS Hinata, you got Hanabi. All these characters have a similar tilt, but I think Sakura's tilt is the most accurate equivalent, if you will. So Dante also has 2 jutsus in his awakening, a neutral jutsu and a down jutsu, because directional jutsus, in my opinion, should have been a thing in Storm. You've got selectable jutsus, and that's great, but you should also have a down jutsu, an up jutsu, a side jutsu, a neutral jutsu, an air jutsu. But, let's not exaggerate things, let's not go overboard. So his first jutsu was Revolution. Basically, Dante just uses his Lightning Sunset's Cone, and he, slashes or whatever, he hits the opponent with it. And this kind of reminds me of, I don't know, it reminds me of Rasa's, or the 4th Kazekage's jutsu, waterfall flow, gold dust waterfall flow. I don't know why, like, I'm not sure if it would even have the same effect, but that's what I was going for, basically, just, that's about it. And as for his second jutsu is Mega Cascade. Now, Mega Cascade, it reminds me maybe of Jubito's jutsu, or Hokage Naruto's Awakening Charged Jutsu, like Kurama, firing that giant beam. It's literally the same thing. Or maybe Mecha Naruto's Instant Awakening in Storm Revolution. That jutsu was very similar to Cascade, like this giant beam that, flows in a way. So, yeah, basically that's about it for his second jutsu. And now, you know how most awakenings have at least 2 awakening actions. So, Six Paths Madara has 4 awakening actions with his Limbo clones. So, Dante will have 4 awakening actions in his DT form, and they will mostly utilize, they will be reliant on his summoned swords and red orbs. So the first awakening action is called Magic Hat, which I also didn't have to rename. It's basically Dante just spawns that Faust hat, and it starts shooting red orbs at the opponent for a certain amount of time, for a brief amount of time. And this reminds me of Konohamaru's Awakening action with the Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu, basically. It's a similar effect. That's what I had in mind when I made this. Maybe Jubito's Awakening Tild, or maybe Jubito's Tild, or I don't know, but it reminds me of Konohamaru's Awakening action, the Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. That's what I had in mind for this. And his second awakening action would be Crimson Barrier, or, well, in game, like, in DMC 5, it's called Man in the Red, I think. That's what it's called in the game, but I think this sounds kind of cooler. So basically, Dante just closes in on his opponent, and the orbs start going crazy, and then they push them away. This works really similarly to Hinata's 8 trigrams, 64 palms, or whatever the hell it's called. Projective or protective 8 trigrams, 64 palms. That jutsu, Hinata's jutsu, basically. And it also reminds me of Kisame's Awakening Grab, or Guard Break. It's also some kind of barrier with sharks. So yeah, this is the effect that I was going for, and I'm glad I was able to replicate it in Storm. Also, I guess that, his, this Awakening action could also work as Gata's Awakening action, because, it could be a defensive offense, or an offensive defense, I'm not quite sure, basically, this could work as a barrier. Like, if you activate this Awakening action, it can work as a barrier, and, Dante's immune to, projectile attacks and jutsus for a certain amount of time, but as soon as the opponent closes in, this works as a jutsu, and it hits them, just like in this fashion here. So, yeah, it could be a defensive, both a defensive and offensive move, so yeah. So, yeah, that would be his second awakening action. His third awakening action is basically round trips. He summons his summoned swords, they assume that position, and they start following and attacking the opponent. So, the effect that this has on the opponent is it leaves them kinda in this weird state, kinda like Hanabi's jutsu. You know how Hanabi's jutsu spins? Like, she spins around the opponent, and then the opponent is, dazzled and not really stunned, but you know what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, it kind of reminds me of Hanabi's jutsu, but that's only the effect that it has. The jutsu itself, the way it's executed, I guess it kind of reminds me of Hanzo's jutsu or something. I'm not really sure, or maybe some Rasen Shuriken or something. I'm not quite sure again. So yeah. Now we have his Awakening Action 3, which is Stingers. This is literally the same thing as Sixpat's Madara's Tilt. It's literally the same. I didn't initially want to add this, but for the sake of similarity, I was like, fuck it, why not? So yeah, that would be his Awakening Action 4. Whew, and now we have his true awakening, the Sen Double Trigger, or Shinmajin. Not sure how you pronounce it, but yeah. So, let's see. So this is the cinematic animation for it. But first off, Dante would charge his chakra like this, and you know how Hokage Naruto, when he charges his chakra and is about to go into his awakening form, or, well, Kurama, you can see that he actually goes KCM while charging his chakra. So we would do the same thing for Dante. You know how when he charges for his Sin DT awakening, you can see the shadow of the, like that demonic shadow for his Sin DT awakening that, appears and is all over him. So we would do the same thing for Dante. And when he, goes awakening, you get this kind of animation that you can see on screen. And it's not really an animation, it's more like just still images, but you get what I'm going for. And you can see his breath and all, getting all stuffy. Yeah, that would be his awakening animation, and yeah, that's about it. Also, I think it's kind of, I don't know, maybe interesting to note that, the roar that the Cindy T does is kind of similar to Sasuke's Susanoo roar. I mean, not at all. They're not the same at all. Sasuke Susanoo doesn't really roar, but it's some kind of sound, right? So I thought that aspect was kind of similar. So yeah, you can see for yourself. So the walking animation for the Cindy T awakening kind of reminds me of Mu, because Dante in this form would float, like in a way. He wouldn't exactly tread on the ground. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of Mu. He also floats, and that's about it for his walking animation. As for his ninja move, Dante, or his substitution, Dante would have this after image kind of movement, that he uses with his Cindy T. And it really reminds me of Shisui's after images that he makes with his ninja move, when Shisui's all about like after images and teleportation, so it's kind of similar. As for the Cindy T jump, it would be air raid. And that's just it, like Dante jumps really high, he spins around, and that's about it. We won't have him fly, because, that doesn't really have any place in Storm. Same thing for Dante's DT, like he can glide, but we really couldn't include this. I mean, I couldn't include it. I'm pretty sure we could have made something, but yeah. So yeah, he's not gonna fly, he's not gonna glide, so yeah, air raid is his jump. We've also got the dash, right? So the dash kind of reminds me of, let's see, well, Dante will basically teleport towards his opponent, which is the same as Edo Minato, or A, or a lot of characters that just go awakening and they teleport. That's their dash, like they teleport. But you could also see these after images. It's called Advent. So his dash is basically Advent. And this reminds me of Shisui's dash, because he also leaves after images while dashing. Except it would be insanely fast. Like he would teleport, but you could see, these after images. So that would be his dash, and now we've got the Shuriken. The Shuriken, or well, the projectile, would be Ombra, or Ombra, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. So yeah, this works perfectly fine as a Shuriken, and it kind of reminds me, I don't know, it's basically a fireball, a small fireball. So it reminds me of PTS Curse Mark Level 2 Sasuke's Awakening Shuriken, or maybe Kisame's Awakening Shuriken, or Sasori's Awakening Shuriken. I'm not quite sure. So the Cindy T also has a startup, if you will, for its combos. And that startup is the first two slashes of the Cindy T Double Sword Dante combo. So he slashes you twice with Double Sword Dante, and that's it. So the neutral combo for his Cindy T is, I decided to call it Annihilation, because, why not? So Dante slashes you twice with Double Sword Dante. He uses Umbra, like he fires two Umbra fireballs at you, and then he uses Demolition. And yeah, that's about it. You implode, your opponent implodes or explodes, I'm not quite sure. And this would be the cinematic animation, the finisher thingy. So next up, we've got the down combo, Ominous Quake. So Dante slashes you twice with Double Sword Dante. He uses Loose, right? And after using Loose, he uses Air Raid and jumps, and then he drops with Inferno, right? So yeah, this would be the cinematic animation for that. He just drops to the ground. It's similar to Dante's DT down combo, Lightning Stream Dive. And you already know the Storm equivalents for this. We've already stated them. There are a lot of characters that basically drop to the ground from the air. as their down combo cinematic finisher. So yeah, this will be it. And next we've got the up combo. The up combo is basically called. It's kind of funny, honestly, but the up combo is Nefarious Cyclone. So Dante slashes you twice with Dull Sword Dante. He uses Inferno, and then he uses Stinger to basically, drill the opponent into the air. So this kind of reminds me of Mecha Naruto's up combo, where he just does this headbutt tornado, and kind of like Fu's up combo maybe? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it definitely reminds me of something. Now, we've also got his side combo. His side combo is called Calamitous Blade, and Dante just, slashes you 3 times with Dull Sword Dante, and the third hit, is the cinematic finisher. He just, as you can see here, he uses his Dull Sword Dante. It just spawns, he just swings it like this, he picks it up, and he swings it, and you see this giant, slash, this red slash, and it's pretty cool, honestly, in my opinion. So, next up, we've got the neutral air combo, which I decided to call Disastrous Slash. So, this is basically just Dante using his Dull Sword Dante combo, like his regular SINDT combo, which is 3 hits in the air, like 3 Dull Sword Dante slashes, and that's about it. So he will also have a down air combo called Infernal Perforation, where Dante basically slashes you twice with Dull Sword Dante and then fires it off, like he ends it all with Luce, or Luce, like I said, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. So this air combo reminds me of Conan's air combo, where she basically uses her paper wings to spawn some paper projectiles to pin you to the ground. So this is kind of what I was going for, and, I'm glad that there's something like this in Storm. So, yeah, basically, that's about it for his side air combo. Now, we've got the grab, which I decided to call Infernal Devastation. And it's not really a grab. It's not cinematic. It's simply a guard break, like most Awakenings. And it's similar to Kushina's Awakening grab or Sakura's Awakening grab. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, it could also be... It's kind of similar to KCM Naruto's grab as well. So, yeah, that's about all. That's about it. So, now we've got the SINDT Tilt, which is called Malicious Stinger. Everything about the SINDT is fucking malicious, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, but yeah. So, this is literally identical to PTS Sasuke's Curse Mark Level 2 Awakenings Tilt. It's basically the same thing. He just uses his wings and all, he drills the opponent, and that's about it. You do have other characters who do a similar thing, like, I don't know, Sasori's Awakening Tilt, or Kisame's Awakening Combo Finisher. So, yeah, that's about it for his tilt. Now we've got the Jutsu. The Jutsu is basically Demolition, and it is identical, in my opinion. It's not really identical, but it's very similar to Mu's Jutsu. Mu basically uses his particle style, and he envelops you, he engulfs you with this thingy, and you implode and explode, and I'm not sure, but this is how it would work. Roughly, So, yeah, that's about it for his jutsu. It's pretty similar to Mu's jutsu. And now we've got the Awakening actions. So, has 2 Awakening actions in a SINDT. First would be Loose, basically. So, Loose, as you already know, is just Dante using his wings and firing all these beams. And this kinda, how do I put this? This also reminds me of Gaara's Sand Shower Jutsu, or, I don't know, it's a volley of hits, basically, of these little beams. So, yeah, it's this chakra volley kind of thing? I'm not sure. It kind of reminds me of Gaara's Sand Shower, and it also has a bit of Konohamaru's Awakening action, the Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu, like the Magic Hat awakening action for his DT form. And yeah, the startup for this awakening action, it's kinda like Konan's jutsu, Shikigami dance, like where she just, spreads her wings in a way. So yeah, there's that. His second awakening action is Judgment. So as you can see, if this awakening action connects, it takes approximately half of the opponent's health, like half of his health bar. And once it connects, like once it's finished, the awakening immediately runs out. Doesn't matter what percentage you were on, as soon as you use this move, your awakening will run out. That is, if it connects. However, if the attack doesn't connect, like you use it, but you just fail, like it doesn't connect, the awakening action will be locked for the remainder of the awakening, and the awakening gauge will deplete faster. So that's basically it. And it kind of reminds me of a lot of things, because I said a great deal of limitations for this. So basically, it reminds me the startup for Judgment. You know how Dante basically summons this circular pattern, this kind of pentagram, octagram, I don't know what it is, on the ground. It's kind of reminiscent of Iruka's grab or Itachi's Totsuka Blade Ultimate Jutsu. Like there's a certain range, and if your opponent is within that range, your jutsu or your awakening action is going to connect. And it kind of reminds me of Datara's awakening action. Like in Datara's awakening, he has this action where he basically sacrifices his awakening, but it throws this bomb that takes a lot of HP. Like it takes an insane amount of HP, but as soon as you use that awakening action, your awakening is gone. And Danzo's reverse tetragram sealing jutsu in his awakening, basically, if you use it, it will take like all of the opponent's basically all of the opponent's HP, but if it fails to connect, I don't know, like you lose subs or something, I'm not quite sure, but I know there's a limitation. And also this awakening action would be a cinematic. Now, there are a lot of cinematic awakening actions, like Lee has a cinematic awakening action, the Raikage has a cinematic awakening action. So, yeah, I think this could totally, be a thing. Yeah, so. And now, as for the outros, as you can see, in Storm, every character has about 5 to 6 outros or something, it depends. And usually, these quotes, they're different quotes, but the animation is the same, right? Like, they only have one animation, but they say different things. Well, Dante, I guess it wouldn't hurt to give him multiple animations, and these outros would be taunts, just like with intros. And, he would have, and the rest is silence, or jackpot, or, guts and honor, and all these things that I've included here. So, yeah.
You look like you just had your ass handed to you. Man, I'm bored. And you are set free. You're not slacking, are you? Guts and honor.
And the rest is silence.
So there are also things that I'll, include in this video that I didn't include in the original Dante Moveset video. So Dante would have like about 2 additional startups, like, got a feeling this one's gonna be a doozy, and things are about to get really messy.
Got a feeling this one's gonna be a doozy. Things are about to get really messy.
Because these are the quotes from DMC5. Or, well, not quotes, but these are just things he says. So, you know how in Storm 4, in Storm, basically, when you defeat someone, certain characters will say something. Like, if you defeat Neji with an ultimate jutsu, he'll say, "What was that?" Or, Shino will say, "Blunder."
Oh! What was that? Game over!
or something. So Dante's defeat quote would be, "Man, I'm old," or "Not here." You know, the things that he says in, in the game, like when he dies.
Man, I'm old.
So, yeah, that's about it. And also, you know how in Storm you've also got support quotes. Like when your support charges up, your character basically, he'll say something like, "Want me to lend you a hand?" or "I'm ready," or something like that.
I'm ready to rock.
Call me when you want.
So Dante's support quote will be, "Why don't you sit this one out?" or something like that, because that's what he says to Nero in Mission 13 or something.
Why don't you sit this one out?
So also there's a thing like when you switch to a different character in Storm, like that character will say something like, "Master, Boruto was ready for this," or something like that. Like they'll say something.
Leave it to me.
Leave this to me.
So Dante would say something like, "Can't let a boy do a man's job," something like that.
Can't let a boy do a man's job.
Also, you've got, these awakening gauge. Like when you take damage, when you take a sufficient amount of damage that will activate your awakening gauge. Your character usually says something, like Naruto says, like, he's growling for Kurama, or Sasuke says, "You're getting me mad," or something like that. You've got a lot of these things, so...
I won't show you mercy anymore.
Finish this. Better get serious.
Dante would say something like, you just don't know when to give up, do ya? Or something like, "I think it's just about time to finish this," or, "Round 2, or "Let me show you what I've got." These are the things that he says, in game, basically. Like, "Let me show you what I got." He says that when he enters his DT state. Round 2 is, when he, gets revived with gold orbs. He also says that versus Urizen, actually, basically in the prologue.
Just don't know when to give up. It's just about time to settle this.
You just don't know when to give up, do ya? He says that to Virgil, and "I think it's just about time to finish this" is also versus Virgil, so... And one last thing that I forgot to include in the original Dante hypothetical moveset video is the ultimate jutsu finishers, or rather, the images. So, for the first ultimate jutsu finisher would be Dante saying "jackpot," and it will be from the last cutscene, where he just says "jackpot." It's been a bash, so, he'll also say that, and it will be this pick,
It's been a bash.
with with the fingers and all that, like, he bids you farewell. Score for Dante would be his third UJ finisher, and it would basically be the Fostad point, the JoJo stance.
Score for Dante.
And, you got a good heart, but you're about as sharp as a marble.
You got a good heart, but you're about as sharp as a marble.
That's also one of the quotes that he would use in his fourth UJ finishers. So yeah, that's about it. These are the things that I didn't include in the original video. There are other things that we could have done. We could have easily given Dante, how do I put this? Like, how Hokage Naruto, basically he starts his combo off in his base form, but the final hit for his combo startup basically has him transform, like he transforms into his KCM mode, and he does this fist thingy. Well, and the rest of his combo is just, him in his KCM form. So we could do the same thing for Dante. We could simply give him quadruple S. We can make an entire new moveset for Dante. Because, Dante has the quadruple S mechanic, which allows him to go into a Sin DT mid-combo, And this is precisely what Naruto does in Storm, like Hokage Naruto. He transforms and goes KCM mid combo. So Dante would just go, he would start the combo off base form, and then he would go, Cindy T. And you know how Naruto's startup, like Hokage Naruto's combo startup, is basically base form, but the final hit has him transform and go KCM, and he transform into this fist, and this would exactly be like Dante's Cindy T Stinger. Like that would be the final hit for his combo startup, and then he would just continue the combo, and finish it in his Cindy T form. So I just thought that I was gonna entertain that idea. I just I just wanted to mention that you could totally make a move for Dante like that, and admittedly I think it will be simpler than making this whole thing that I came up with. So yeah. Also, I guess this kind of reminds me of Onoki's down combo, like that part of his down combo where he just drills into his opponent like that. So yeah. Now, there are also a lot of moves that we basically actually used 90% of Dante's moveset. Now, obviously, in DMC, you got different variations of these moves and all sorts of things, but we used, the majority of his moveset, the vast majority. Now, there are certain moves that we have not used, and I will be stating these moves and stating what they could have been, like what purpose they could serve, potentially, in Storm as a part of Dante's moveset. So we've got I could have gone with Aerial Rave as his air combo, but I like nothing but Aerial Rave, right? Which is 4 hits. But I decided that I was gonna use the first 3 hits, and that was it, because it would have been really boring. So the DT glide thing, Dante can use this quadruple jump and he can glide, or fly, and his DT, we kind of use this in the ultimate, right? Like Ultimate Jutsu 2, we have Dante gliding and stuff. So we, this could also be some kind of tilt maybe, who knows, I'm not quite sure. So what else we got? We got, what else? The quadruple DT jump, we've already said that, it's kind of too much. Cindy T flying, we got that in the ultimate, basically, and that would have also been too much. The COYOTE-A charge shot, it could be a CHAKRA Shuriken. The Ebony shot, that could have been a Shuriken, basically. Chaser. Now this is kind of interesting. Chaser, basically, if you're in DT and you select Swordmaster as your style, all of your melee weapons will be accompanied by the summoned swords taking various shapes. It kind of reminds me of Takasasuke's Awakening, where he, when he goes Awakening, all of his attacks are amplified by lightning and followed by lightning. So his sword is basically coated in lightning. So I guess that kind of reminds me of that. But I thought it would have been superfluous, honestly. I don't see the purpose of it. So what else do we got? We got Cascade. Well, not Mega Cascade, but regular Cascade. This kind of reminds me of Mecha Naruto's grab, where he just, locks on and then hits you with it. It could have been some kind of jutsu as well. Next we've got Hysterics. Hysterics could have been something like Kisame's ultimate jutsu, or it could have been a jutsu. It could also be a grab. I'm not sure. So, but it kind of reminds me of Kisame's ultimate jutsu with the sharks and all that. Next, we've got Redline. Redline could be a tilt of some sorts. I'm not quite sure. So, yeah. Next, we got a cut in back, or a cut in front, or a cut inside, and all that. With the COYOTE-A, I don't know. Maybe it could serve some purpose as some weird grab or a ninja move. I'm not entirely certain. We've got Backslide, which I also have no idea. Maybe it will be something like a tilt. We got Fireworks. This could be a tilt. It could be a jutsu. It could be a lot of things, but I don't know. Gunstinger. This could have been an ultimate jutsu startup or a tilt. I don't know. I haven't really included the COYOTE-A at all, like I said. I only included it as the CHAKRA Shuriken, honestly. And I don't know why. I just felt like his melee weapons are simply better, you know. We've got full throttle. We've used full throttle, so yeah. But it could also be an ultimate jutsu startup or a tilt. Wheelie jump. Now, obviously, this is an obvious up combo finisher. You know, like wheelie jump. It's totally perfect for you know, being an up combo finisher. Next we've got we got Cavalier combo B. We only use the second hit of this combo, the one where he, you know, like, you know what I mean. But this could be a grab. It could have been in his combo, in his DT neutral combo, but I simply preferred his double wielding chainsaws. So yeah, what else we got? We got the Royal Release, which could be a jutsu in a way. Heat up for the Balrog. I don't know, some kind of weird instant awakening maybe. I'm not sure. Updraft. Now obviously updraft would be just like the wheelie jump. It could be a perfect up combo finisher, but I simply feel like Break Spiral is a lot flashier and better overall. So yeah. Next we've got the Balrog combo A. And the problem with this combo is that it can be a startup and it can be a combo finisher, and you can't really insert a mid combo because it's too short yet too conclusive. The final kick is just too, you know, it's over, if you know what I mean. Now, Minimal and Rising Dragon, it could be an up combo finisher, but I literally see no reason as to why I would use that when we've got things like, you know, the Divine Dragon or Real Impact. So, yeah. Fly Dragon, right? So we used Heavy Jolt, but you could follow this up with Fly Dragon. I don't know. This could be some kind of up combo finisher, but I simply think it's pretty redundant, honestly. So, next we've got Light Hit, which is basically, well, we kind of use that, you know, the Balrog blow mode. So what else we got? We used Rock Back as well, but this could be a tilt as well, something similar to Shisui's tilt, or, you know, Heavy Jolt or something, like Dante closes in on his opponent like this from a certain distance. It could work. Next we've got Four-Handed. Now, this move would be ultimately useless in Storm, I think, but it's very useful in DMC for combo mads and all that. Now we got the DSD combo A, or well, Delsor Dante combo A, and it's the same problem as the Balrog combo A, because, you know, it's too short, yet too conclusive to be mid combo or as a part of a startup or something. It's simply too short. So next we got Mad Hatter, and Mad Hatter, it's the same as Set Hat, you know, it's basically the same thing. It could work as an air combo, or it could work as a tilt. I just simply felt like having that other, you know, Set Hat feature. I just felt like that would have worked better. That's why I went with that. What else? We've also got Honeycomb Fire. I don't know, some weird kind of Storm 2-esque Chakra Shuriken barrage, like Takasasuke. I'm not really sure. Twosome Time, I have no idea what this could be. Twin Blasters, this could be an air combo hit, and I was gonna include it, but I just didn't know where to include it. So Twin Howitzer, that could be a Shuriken or a Chakra Shuriken of some sorts. So Dante's got he's got this air taunt called Ecstasy, which is a throwback to Lucifer from DMC4. So he throws a rose midair, and this rose can, you know, knock the opponent back or, you know, lift them upwards in a way. It's pretty useful, and it could be an air combo. It could be a part of some air combo. So yeah. But yeah, Dante's moveset is so extensive that he could actually create an entire moveset for him based on one of his weapons, or at least one of his melee weapons. And trust me, I tried. I'm not going to make this video 50 hours long. It's already insanely long as it is. But you could totally make a moveset based simply on his Balrog, or the Cavalier, or the Cerberus. Trust me, the Cerberus is... you can make 2 movesets based on the Cerberus, and even also Dante, so... yeah, his moveset is just, he has a surplus of things at his disposal, and it's honestly insane. Also, if you think these names, the names that I'm giving, the names that I've given to these moves are kind of ridiculous, don't even get me started on Storm, who... like, this game, like, wow, this game literally has names like Inevitable Destruction of All Creation, or Heaven Rises and Falls, and some completely nebulous fucking names. Like, I have no idea, but yeah, so, yeah, I have nothing to add here, So, could Dante be a Storm character, or a Storm guest character? Well, you bet your sweet ass he could, but I did bend the mechanics a little. And yes, by my standards, this is considered a little. Because, you know, if you exclude the second side combo, and the 2 air combos, and, you know, the down jutsu, and the intros, and the multiple outros, this really isn't so outlandish for Storm. Like, you've already got characters like Hokage Naruto that have, you know, 4 jutsus in 1 jutsu, like a char jutsu. You've got characters like Shisui that have jutsus that have active input, like 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3 slashes. You've got Boruto, who has like 3 tilts. You've got KCM Naruto and One Tail Naruto, whose awakenings have completely different movesets, and who even have 3 to 4 air combos and a side combo that for some reason was not deleted. And intros and outros, they used to be a thing in Storm. I mean, intros used to be a thing in Storm 1, but outros usually have a single animation, whereas I wanted to make multiple animations, 5 to be precise, for Dante. And yeah, I mean, 2 ultimate jutsus, that's okay. 2 jutsus, like all of these selectable things, it's a thing in Storm as well. So yeah, I don't really think that, I mean, at first glance, this may seem like I may have gone overboard with Dante's moveset, but I seriously don't think it's that bad. I think this could totally be feasible, and that he could totally be a character in Storm. As a matter of fact, you could venture to say that we made 2 characters here, because basically his DT is like an entirely different moveset. You could literally make him a separate character or something, or a variation, or a selectable awakening, like I said. So, I'm not really sure, but you know, this is a fighting game, like Storm is a fighting game, so I actually had to limit the possibilities that DMC5 has to offer, because, you know, you got a lot of leeway, you got a lot of freedom and liberty in Storm, but, you know, it's still kind of formulaic, whereas in DMC, there's a lot more freedom of movement, if you will, and you could do a lot of things and mix up combos and all these things, but you know, some of these things simply don't have a place in Storm 4, which is somewhat formulaic basically, and there's not really there's a clearer pattern in Storm, I'd say. Yeah, and like I said, like, while this was an onerous task, it was arduous to some degree, but ultimately I enjoyed it, honestly. It was pretty chill, like I said, and because I enjoyed it, I decided to make a moveset for a Storm moveset for Nero and Mercer. And I know what you're thinking. Some of you might be thinking, oh god, no, or who gives a fuck, but actually I actually enjoy this a lot. So I've already recorded the moves for Nero and Mercer, and their movesets are not going to be as detailed as Dante's, simply because they don't have as many things at their disposal, but they do have a lot of things regardless. And I don't think I'll be able to find as many Storm equivalents for their movesets, but still, I just gotta edit the whole thing and make the audio and the commentary or something. So yeah, I don't know when you guys could or should expect this, because I'm pretty lazy and I've got a lot of things to do in college and all that. So yeah, but look forward to it if you want. I will definitely be making a Storm moveset for Nero and Mercer, especially now that I've basically recorded the whole thing and, you know, had that idea. So, yeah. And yeah, you guys could just, like, comment down below what you think. And as always, people, see ya, peace out, and have a great day.